All right, tonight we had a community meeting in Kailua Kona at the West Hawaii Civic Center to talk about the impacts of the greatly increased amount of VOG we've been experiencing here since the eruption began.
Here's the map of the current activity in the low risk drift zone. So the pink areas are the lava flows that have erupted since May 3rd.
We had representatives here from USGS and from Department of Health, and they brought along some medical doctors who could answer some of the questions about health concerns. And I think it went well. I think there's still more questions, but some of them got answered, and I think there was an exchange of information. I feel like a little bit of the challenge we have here in Kona is making people who aren't living here understand how bad the conditions are in terms of VOG. Of course, our hearts are with everyone in Puna who's lost their homes, and we understand that that's a much greater tragedy, but at the same time, people are feeling really sick over here from the VOG as well. And I know people also who've actually had to leave the island because they have children who are severely affected and things like that. So it needs to also be taken seriously.
How affected?
I'm not a allergic kind of person. I'm not generally allergic too much, and I have never really had issues with the VOG before, but I've definitely been feeling it when it dips down into the unhealthy for sensitive groups or unhealthy range of AQI. My eyes are burning, my throat is scratchy, I wake up coughing at night, which is difficult because then you're not getting rest. And yeah, I think it makes me feel irritable and grumpy, which is not that helpful for going throughout your day and getting work done also.
Sore throats, itchy eyes, watery eyes, colds that aren't going away. My daughter, 7 years old, is complaining of headaches, and it's like, I don't know what else to do. I mean, we use essential oils, I use those on her, but I don't know what else to do because I can't keep loading her up with medication. That's not good for her either. So just kind of, it's day to day.
I've noticed a lot of mucus buildup in my throat, and in turn it makes it hard for me to breathe. I've noticed I try to stay inside more when I see that the levels have gone higher to the unhealthy, or the red or the orange. I've bought air purifiers for my room and living room and areas. I've gone to the doctor a couple of times.
Well, it's a lot of coughing, congestion, eye itching, and nose issues as well. I noticed that some of these particulates, once in a while, they'll get clogged in my pores and cause a little bit of outbreak or sores on the inside of my nose. So I just wanted to get some more information on whether that's going to be long-term, short-term, or how to even fight against it. But I did live in LA and a couple other polluted places in South America. And so one thing, I am pretty familiar with that kind of stuff. But upon getting here, it didn't have any much, at least until the eruption. And then, wow, I feel it.
I remember when I was little, we were down at Old Airport, and I could look up at the mountain and I could see how clear it was. And that was in the 80s. But this is like, if you can't see the mountain and you can't see the ocean, then I think that's cause for concern.
It does get frustrating, I think, here that there's a feeling that there's a lack of recognition of what we're dealing with in West Hawaii. For example, I noticed tonight as we were in this meeting, an alert came out. I'm signed up for the Civil Defense text alerts, which has been very helpful. The winds are shifting, which means the trade winds are dying down a little, which means the rest of Hilo's side potentially and the rest of the state will actually experience more VOG and will probably have better conditions in Kona. And this alert said expect air quality issues because of the shifting winds. Meanwhile, we've had air quality issues every other day of the week here in Kona, and no alert is ever sent out for that. So, it wouldn't make sense to alert the population in West Hawaii every single day of something they're already aware of, but I think that people do want to feel that there's a recognition from their leaders in government that there is a problem.
What we're concerned about in West Hawaii today is we're not getting information here on this side of the island. It seems to be all concentrated in Hilo and that side of the island and down there. We can see the VOG. There's been so many orange days here, red days. I mean, you might not see it on your monitor, but every one of us has a vision. I look out at the ocean and I can't see the beach, and I'm at 600 feet. I know darn well that we need monitors in Haleakaloha, Honolulu, Kealakekua. We need monitors in Kona. We don't need monitors out at the airport. Nobody hardly lives out at the airport. We live in town, and that's where we want to know what's happening to the people of the west side of this island, the concentration of them. I would like to have information. Just before I left here, I went to the site, Hawaii Civil Defense, and there was arguing with some nincompoop over there. I said, we have better information from purpleair.com than we do from your maps. We want to be informed on this side of the island. We are not just a tourist trap. We are people that live here, and we want to know what our air quality is. And we all know there's a vortex here, and we get pounded with the log. And we've all seen how bad it's been.
It just seems like there's not enough communication. There's a huge gap there. It seems like, as somebody had mentioned it earlier, that there's a huge focus on the east side of the island, which I completely understand. However, you know, it's kind of like over here we're suffering a little bit, and they seem to be hugely making light of the situation. They're telling us to stay inside when it gets bad. Don't overexert yourself. But on the same hand, they're also saying it's not a problem. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So that's kind of a new frustration for me. It's kind of like, is there something that they're not, you know, why aren't they expanding on that? Like, take your pick. Is it good for us or not? Me personally, I don't think I should have to see my air. And what I can see, I know I'm breathing, and so is everybody else. My daughter, when she was in school, nobody talked about it. Nobody at the school said anything, talked about what they could do, if we could help at all. And then I found out that they were keeping the kids in the class with the windows shut and the fans on with, you know, no source of extra air, which is kind of like pick your poison, but again, no communication.
Letting us know when it comes to that orange. When it comes to that orange, let us know. I mean, on television, radio, whatever it takes. You know, that's necessary so that we can at least try help ourselves.
But it was like 2 solid days last week in the red, unhealthy. Probably 2 or 3 other days that was in the unhealthy zone. I think right now it's a matter of getting information out there because people are worried and they need to know more. Obviously, government can't make the VOG stop, and we recognize that. And then I think for now, in terms of long-term impacts, we're still in a triage mode dealing with the situation down in Puna. I know the county is probably overwhelmed, just trying to put together the resources for that. So we're really grateful of the work that they're doing. And I think it's a wait and see how long this persists and what kind of impact it has over the long term, and if further assistance is going to be needed specifically in this area.
You have 4 times as much sulfur dioxide transforming to sulfate particles around the volcano. So hopefully when that eruption ends, you'll go back to the old condition, which was also not fun, but less bad than right now. But as long as this eruption is continuing and putting out almost 20,000 tons per day of sulfur dioxide, this is the situation you're in. And I think the guidance is essentially the same. The guidance really doesn't change with the level of VOG. You're dealing with VOG.